All right, welcome back, People Over Politics, and we are it's turning the season. It's not just construction; it's lawn sign season.
That's right.
Randy Shai, welcome back to the show, and we got a guest. Amanda is here. Amanda, thank you for being here. Amanda Treppa, you are running State Senate New District number 10, and we're going to find out what's new about that. Ren, remind me, which seat are you running for again?
That's Senate District 9. So our district seats are right next to each other.
Oh.
Senate District 9 is Troy, Rochester Hills, and then Sterling Heights from DeQuinter to Van Dyke, Utica, and a few neighborhoods in Shelby.
All right.
And then Amanda.
Yeah, District 10, right next door. It's 14 in Van Dyke, all the way down through Oak Park.
So how is it new District 10? Because when you said that, is that a thing? Is it?
Yes, that is a thing.
Or is it just new to you because you're running for it? It's going to be new to me when I win it.
It could be a little bit of both. No, because of the redistricting lawsuits that took place a few years back. This is part of that redistricting. So it took 3 current state senators and put their districts all in one. 2 are term limited, and then one of them is currently running for the U.S. Senate.
Okay.
And then I'd be taking her place in. So new boundaries. It's Oakland and Macomb County. Which it previously was not. So
okay, that's kind of straddling the two worlds there.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that in a minute. That poses some interesting challenges for representation, I would imagine. But Ren, let's go back to you, and we've talked a couple of times, but let's get back to the basic of it. Why are you running?
The ultimate question that we always answer. I think, and the more time that passes throughout the campaign as a whole, the more, everything that I do informs that earlier decision making. I think, though, Jamie, overall, it occurs to me in being involved in the last 20 or so years, as I have in our local politics and in this community, that we've seen so many changes, in our community over time. And I think we can all attest to this, that these changes, they haven't always been beneficial to us. And so after some time, one starts asking, who have they been benefiting? And it's not working families. It's not our families. It's not everybody in this community. And I think in looking at all of that, it occurs to me, and I think it occurs to all of us who run for these offices, that we need fighters to be able to bring back the value of politics and the value of our legislature and the system as a whole to give back to our community. And I think that's the reason that I'm running. I'm running to give back to my community. I'm running to make sure that the changes going forward and everything that we do goes to the benefit of our families.
I love it. So Amanda, it's the same to you, right? So what is it that made you want to run? Why are you running?
I totally agree with giving back to our communities. That's definitely up there. But for me, when I made the decision, it was based on the fact of my own personal lived experiences that I had been through. I had started my life in foster care on and off the street. I encountered workplace abuse during a miscarriage and really tough pregnancy. 2 systems that were very much remnants of how we were founded. And seeing that and actually having lived it, survived it, overcome it, where the gaps are. Actually how to address them, how to fix them properly in the way that you are in your community. And we also need leaders who are actually in their communities, who are not doing a hierarchical, I'm up here, you're down here, and that disconnect and bridging that disconnect. And I've done advocacy for the last few years in Lansing, and that has always been the Lansing bubble versus everyone else. And we need new leaders and real representation, genuine representation of our communities that's able to bridge that and actually give back to everyone.
So this isn't your first time dipping the toe into politics. You have some experience in with city stuff. And what city was that again? Royal Oak? Yes.
I live in Royal Oak. Yes.
Okay.
I'm on the Local Officers Compensation Commission.
All right.
And then I'm the state bill director in Michigan, and also still serve in some capacity on the Northeast in Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island on the Workplace Psychological Safety Act. So specializing in anti-bullying, anti-harassment in the workplace, legislative wise.
All right. So what qualifies you? What kind of what qualifies you to take on this role?
What qualifies me the most, obviously, is having the professional experience and background, knowing how government works, knowing how to actually get policy across finish lines, but also the lived experience, which is really rare that we get to find across the board.
If you haven't lived through it, how are you gonna? Yeah. So some people are so disconnected.
Yes.
So. And you've overcome those challenges. Maybe you can help other people.
That's the idea.
The same thing.
That's the idea. That's the goal. And that's what we all want to actually do at the end of the day, if you're putting people above politics.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. So hitting the community, how are you connecting right now through your campaign? How are you getting out in the community, and how are you connecting with people?
Yeah, well, I've been running for over 400 plus days at this point.
Wow. Okay.
Started April of 2025.
And
Yep.
we're getting into lawn sign season. We were out walking
They're
the
all
dog,
out.
and Colleen was like, "Is that guy that you're doing the podcast with?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he's that's right. Yeah."
That's the best part when you get
So-
text messages of pictures and someone's like,
That's
"Oh, I
right.
saw your lawn sign. You love it."
Yeah.
But you were speaking on the district earlier in being Oakland and Macomb.
Yeah.
I'm born and raised in Macomb County,
Okay.
and then now my home is in Oakland. So
Right on.
I love both counties very, very much.
Yeah.
We can often be Hatfields and McCoys, but they are my homes, and I love being able to bring that perspective to be able to bring us together to do better work. And throughout this campaign, we have been at everything you could possibly think of, but also reconnecting with some
Mhm.
people, like all the way back to my high school, junior high teachers who've gotten involved in this campaign and their kids. And we do a lot of community conversations where it's not just us. We bring in outside organizations to go beyond the campaign.
So when you're talking to people in the street, what, Randy, you're going to answer this next, but what's
Yeah.
the top concern you have coming from people that you're talking to when you're having coffee and knocking on doors?
Yeah, I would say the overarching theme, if I could put it under an umbrella, has been safety, as in I want to feel safe about my money, that I'm going to be able to pay for my bills. I want to feel safe within my community and make sure we're all protected, or my kids in their schools. And everyone's trying to find their groundedness in this right now, in these uncertain times, because we can't afford a lot of things right now. And the bills are just going up and everybody's coming for us, whether it's utility companies, and people are really trying to find their safety in that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So what are you hearing from people as concerns?
Same. I mean, it's true. It's very true. I think the affordability portion of it is huge everywhere you go. And I think, and Jamie, you know, because you and I both live in this community as well. And you know that we're fortunate to live where we live. We live in affluent areas that you would think are doing well. But if you're having those conversations, even in a city like Troy and like Rochester Hills and well-to-do neighborhoods, and they're still talking affordability, that we've reached a point where that perhaps we haven't been in a long time, and for no reason, obviously. So I think those conversations have been top of mind for everybody when you knock on the door. And one of the ways when I first approach a door, one of the things that I first say is like, "I swear I'm not here to sell you new windows."
We're not interested.
Right. And so usually you get that reaction. Everybody chuckles. And it's like, "Well, what are you here for?" And then I tell them, I'm like, "Well, I'm one of your neighbors. I'm running for office." And it just happens every time. It feels like nobody even waits for you to tell them what you may want to say. They jump right in, like, "What the hell is happening?"
Yeah.
And I think that is a perfect illustration for what we're undergoing as a community, as a larger whole. And I think those are precisely the kind of things that we need to address.
So how big are your districts? How many people are in the districts that you're going to be representing?
It's like, well, state Senate districts are generally 270,000
That's right.
people. And there are 12 municipalities in District 10.
Yeah.
All right.
And then District 9 is the same thing. It's about 260,000 people. And that, like I said, we have, 3 communities, Troy, Rochester Hills in Oakland County, and then same in Macomb. We have Sterling Heights, Utica, and Shelby.
Yeah. And those areas right there, there's a lot of growth.
Absolutely.
Is what I'm seeing. It's like, why it seems like it's dense.
Yes.
And it seems like it's getting denser. I live slightly adjacent to it, and but it's a nice place to live. And you're right. Is Royal Oak part of your district, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
like
I mean, you
pretty much
live in the
center.
district, and it's I like it. I like the area. I can see why people want to be there. But it's a big chunk, right? It's a big chunk of the population. How are you going to be able to connect with everybody in your district, and then making it work and work with other politicians that may have other goals and objectives? It's a lot to manage. How are you going to make that work, across the aisles, and then with all your constituents who may not see things always the way you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're doing a lot of it right now with knocking doors, because that's what it comes down to, is coming and meeting people where they're actually at. I hate when people say that, don't actually go knock on a door, but we go and actually speak with everyone everywhere we can. And we are people who actually work. Right? Like we have real jobs. It isn't just legislative all day, all this elected official. We are actually in it, so we know where to find people and where to meet them at. But as far as working across the aisle and working with others, you have to. That's what it takes to be effective. And you have to be able to look at someone and say, listen, I know you're not going to agree with me on X, Y, and Z, but over here, where can I find a yes?
All right.
Where can we find that common ground? Because there are things that are just not bipartisan. Everyone wants infrastructure. Nobody wants to be planning on the flooding of the roads and how it's going to wreck their car, right? Those are things and how you actually meet people that way. And it's really nice to be able to be next to another Democratic person if you can,
Right.
you know, Senate district wise.
When you guys win.
That's right.
Hey,
Positive thinking.
yeah.
So yeah, is there a plan, since you're going to be next to each other, is there a plan for working together?
Well, absolutely. And I think it's natural because obviously we share so much as far as belief systems, but and our ideology. But at the end of the day, Amanda's exactly right that so much of what we do, both in the legislature, but overall in the system, is not political by design or naturally. When it becomes political, I should say, that is by design, because potholes are not ideologically driven, and so much of what we do in our cities and as far as our daily life is concerned has nothing to do with who's in charge, Democrats or Republicans. Water has to flow a certain way and everything else along with it. So working together with when we're elected with Amanda is the most natural thing. I feel like we see each other daily just about now.
A lot.
We're in the same we're constantly in the same places, the same events, and I feel like our separation only takes place when we're out there knocking doors because we're knocking in different communities. But our some of the places that we go attend, like things like the Warren Sterling Heights Democratic Club, Macomb Defenders Rising, and organizations like that, are organizations that span, for example, all throughout Macomb County. And because we're there, we're constantly seeing each other. And then the same thing with respect to the Oakland County Democratic Party and the like in Oakland County.
Yeah.
So, all right. So failing to plan is a plan to fail, right? To use a little cliche there. But campaigning is so hard and so much work. But all right, you get elected. When you guys get in, what's the plan, right? Because they talk about the first 100 days in the presidency, the first 100 day of the mayor.
Right.
So you guys, your first 100 days, what do you have for a plan in those first 100 days? What's it going to look like for you?
I mean, when we walk in the door, it's already going to be time to do the budget and start working on the budget.
Oh, there you go.
Right. That's going to be right out of the gate. That's what happens the beginning of that process in January in the legislature. So there are going to be some things that we will not know until we get there because we have to see how much is on fire when we arrive.
Right.
However, there are things that we'll be able to tackle right away, individual needs for our districts and our communities that they're already putting up there. If there's certain projects, programs, community CVI funding, things like that we already know we need to move on sooner than later. And we're already connected in this process, not only to our community and to each other, but also to Lansing already as it stands, right? We have support and we're able to see what they're going to be leaving behind and being able to ask the right questions in real time. So that way it is a handing of the baton and not so much a good luck.
Yeah, budget's gonna be critical. I couldn't agree more. And I think that's one element, even though it's huge, because we're talking $81 billion last time around, right? And it's a massive undertaking, and it's going to be undergoing, and of course, it's going to take a lot of our time. But I think we also have to be deliberate as well. And you and I have talked about it this before. We are at the absolute bottom when it comes to transparency in this great state compared to every other state in the country, and because we're only one of two states who does not make their legislature and the governor subject to FOIA. Small, when you think about it conceptually, given some of the nature of the problems that we have and we experience in this great state, you feel like with transparency, I mean, what is that? But transparent government is at the root of all other things, right? If we do that right, everything else, simply on account of the fact that you're going to air it out, is going to have proper decision making attached to it. And we're going to see so much benefit if we address and if we're deliberate about something like that. And I think and I've been like a broken record on this for so long, but I feel like we need to fix revenue sharing once and for all. And
absolutely,
that's the ability, as we've talked about before, Jamie. That's when we take money from people just on account of the fact that we've parked our homes in the cities that we do, and then that money gets dissipated in Lansing, and some of it by by the Constitution of this great state and the statutory authorities, needs to come back to the municipalities, and it hasn't been coming back in the way that it's supposed to for
Correct.
decades. And I feel like if we fix that retroactively, we're just going to fix so much.
Right.
We're going to be able to give that freedom to municipalities to be able to finally spend money on the things that they need to without having to raise taxes every other day.
Yeah.
Correct. We're not current.
Well,
We are not current. And like that
there's
is
a $10 billion balance.
Yes.
Right. It's unbelievable.
And that's important for us to remember is we have to stay current.
Yeah,
And that's why everyone's feeling the pain where they are.
So Amanda, in new District 10,
Yeah.
is there a project or is there something that's unique to your district that you're like, oh, I really want to sink my teeth into this in my district in this area? I'm kind of going off script. I'm sorry.
You are. I'm here for it. I love it. I really do. I'm trying to think. There are so many. The best part about this district, and it was a big part of me deciding to run for it, is it's so diverse and there's just so many different communities all together, and every city has its own thing, and I absolutely love it. So, there's great projects. There's like one in Ferndale happening right now. They're trying to restore one of the community centers and try to really bring that back. So a lot of the seniors,
Ferndale.
so let the seniors have a place to be able to go and do more community activities at. Like there's something like that. But in general, I'm just really excited to really sink my teeth into making sure that this district really feels all lifted up together, because it is also different.
Yeah.
And there are parts that have felt forgotten at times. And we know we don't want anyone to ever feel forgotten or left behind.
Was District 10 split between two counties previously, or is that new with the new 10? Okay.
It was.
All right.
It was Oakland and Wayne.
Okay. Oh.
Yes, it went a little
Our
bit.
lines are moving. Okay.
A little bit. Yeah. It went into Detroit.
Okay. Fair play.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
so then it shifted over now to Oakland and Macomb.
All right. So Oakland went from Wayne to
Mhm.
Macomb. It's still the Oakland party going on.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Just curious. All right. What else I want to talk to you guys about? So, new District 10, right? And who are you facing? Who are you teeing off against here?
Yeah, so it's an open seat. There's I say technically, if this third person is listening, sorry, I have not met you yet, but there are 3 people running in this primary. There's one person who has run before. I have not met them. And then the other opponent is a current state representative, Representative Price out of Berkeley.
Okay.
Yes, and we know we're in a rare circumstance where going up against a formidable opponent in a sitting elected
So is this a
official.
primary? Is this for the heading into the primary? So you have 3 seats. You have 3 people for this primary.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
But we're doing really well.
Okay.
And it has been a great long journey, and we're continuing to push ahead. And I see a really great outcome coming on August 4th.
So what makes you stand out from the others?
What makes you stand out most is, like I said, being actually born and raised here and from the district. Like that starts right there.
little podcast bell.
That's right.
Yeah, but it does, and it matters. We want, I think that's also like true of Michiganders as a whole. Like we really want to see someone who we know is part of our lives and understands it and actually knows the mile roads, and knows where places are and have been here.
Can pronounce Shaner, right?
Literally that.
Well,
And it's like even schools, right? Like I recently was talking to folks over at MEA, and like I've actually been through the public schools here, and that matters. I'm like I'm a product of our public school system, and I'm really proud of that.
Yes.
And that is amazing to get a chance to give back to people who have supported me my entire life and made me who I am today. So that's definitely the really definitive standout by far. And it's, like I said, having professional experience that if you run my resume in AI, y'all, I know we have things on AI that we can talk about, but if you run it through, I'm actually a 98% match for state Senate. There's only 2 things I haven't done that they currently do. Right up there, professional and actually being here and from the community.
Awesome. I'm going to give you another bell. For I love it. So, Ren, you were the first time we talked, you were it was unopposed, right. And it's grown since then. You've had a couple people join the fray. What does your primary look like?
Same thing. There's 3 of us.
Okay.
There's 2 other people that have joined the fray, but similarly situated. We're feeling very good about our race, and obviously there's tangibles and intangibles, and the intangibles we'll never know, but the tangibles we know, we can see, we can measure those, and based on our measurement, things are looking very good in every department. But it is it is a race, and at the end of the day, I welcome it, and I think we all do. And because primaries, at the end of the day, hone our skills, make us better candidates, and I think it's desirable overall for the community. At the end of the day, you want candidates who go through, the entire campaign season having to articulate their thoughts, having to articulate their positions, so we don't show up in November when we're unknown quantities, right? And I think that this primary is certainly making sure that happens. And you know what? To your earlier question to Amanda, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
With respect to one, with respect to one thing that you would do in district, mine was sort of unique as I started to think about that. Well, what would I do here specifically? My wife and I, it doesn't look like it when you look at me, but we usually every other weekend we go for a run. We pick a 5K somewhere in the district and
nice.
go for a run. So 6'5", 260 pounds, you'd think like runs, not a thing, but we do. And one of the last ones that we did was in Utica, because the Hanson store in Utica does organizes them every Wednesday, throughout all throughout the summer. And you run inside the city, right? Utica is a small little town, and it's a beautiful little town. And when you run those roads, you get a different appreciation than when you drive those roads. And as I was running, my wife was completely happy. She's in her element. She is just joyous. And I was completely miserable. Like, these roads are terrible. Like, the injustice that we're doing to our community.
It's real.
I'm talking about inside the neighborhoods, right?
It's so real. The inside the neighborhood roads.
It is abysmal. And so, and of course, we, as soon as we were done, I started posting right away, like, Utica, I'm giving you roads. That's the first thing I'm going to, but it is one of the first things we need to be able to get back. And so, I think your comment, Amanda's comments were perfectly appropriate. If you're a part of this community, if you spend time here, if you grew up here, if you've lived your formative years here, and you're involved in everything that you do, I think those are the things that you notice, right? Those are the things, and that's what makes you want to give back to the community. Those are the things that stand out.
So while you're campaigning, and most politicians, while they're campaigning, make a lot of promises.
Yes.
You're making promises. Your primary folks are making promises, and then the other opponent's going to make some promises. What unique promises are you making, and how are you going to keep them, as opposed to what other people may be doing?
The biggest promise that I'm able to make and deliver on is understanding that when you're given an opportunity, that you go all the way with it. I realized that I may only had one opportunity to run, and I said, we're going to do it our way. We're going to do it no holds back. Like, give it everything you've got, and how you run your race is how you're going to usually run your office. And where that is different from my opponent is having already been in the trifecta. They did good things, but everyone has said they could have gone further, and then they lost the trifecta. And so the biggest thing that I've heard coming from my opponent is, when we get back the trifecta, when we get back, and I'm like, listen, let's put someone there who knows what to do. When we are given that responsibility, when we have that opportunity, you take it and give it everything you've got, because you can't be so worried about keeping your job that you forget to do your job. And that is the promise that I can definitely stand on 10 toes down every day.
I like it. What about you? Rose for Utica? Is that the promise?
Rose for Utica.
We need some Oak Park too.
Promise. And I think it's funny because it's roads everywhere. It's not that they're different, but having, like running on those roads, it gave me a very different perspective than even driving. But I think you're right. We do make a lot of promises over the course of time. All politicians do, and it goes without saying that's not new, and it's going to continue no matter what, with us in a race, without us in a race. But I was having a conversation, to answer your question, Jamie. I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine who was a former state rep, and at one point or another, she pointed out to me, she says, I was, she wanted our community to give her credit with respect to something that she had done for our community. And she says, don't you remember how long I worked for that? And I said, yes, I do. And she said, don't you recall how, she says, how difficult it is to get bills out of the legislative writing office in this thing. And it took me sort of back for a second, but what it is the office that actually drafts the legislation. And they draft legislation because, of course, in the legislature, which, as you know, stands for, the place where we pass laws, right, from Latin, we don't have, among others, we don't have too many professionals, period, but we don't have many attorneys. We only have one attorney on the other side. And it had never occurred to me that I would have to submit something that I would want to be written and passed as law to some other people Because as an attorney, particularly as a municipal attorney, I draft all of my own ordinances. I prepare them, finalize them, give them to council to vote up or down. And that's the law, right? Having always done it myself, right? It never occurred to me that I would have to do something different, and I wouldn't. So we would never have to wait. So if there's a promise, it's an overarching promise, right? We have all these items, things that, revenue sharing, budgets, of course, everybody does budgets, transparency and ethics and all the things that we need and we must have. But overall is the ability to actually get it done without having to wait on others, right? Without having to wait on, to learn the skill set, because this is what I do. This is what I've always done. This is my career. This is my profession. This is, and this is how it should be, I think, at the end of the day.
I always say it's, as a voter in politics, it's like, I hired you to do a job, get it done.
That's right.
I don't want to know about it. Just get,
you need to vote or forget.
Yeah, and I want to see things get done. I put you there. I don't want to see the fighting. I just want to see.
Yes.
And if
success.
all goes well at the end of the day, right? You should never know who is in these seats. There's no reason why we should. We only know when things are not well, and we only pay attention when things are not well.
It's not about a gold star. It's not about the parades. It's about the work. Just get the work done.
That's right.
On the campaign trail, is there anything that has surprised you as you've been going through your campaign?
How much time do we have? There's been so many things that have surprised me, but I think the best surprise is how engaged everyone is right now, more than ever.
Okay.
Because that gives extra hope that you need some days, on the really hard days, that people really care and they're paying a lot more attention. They're paying attention to social media. They're reading multiple sources. They really, when I'm coming to a door, sometimes they are ready with a list of questions and they are well thought out. They're researched and they're like, let's get into it. And I'm like, okay, let's do this. But I think that's great. And that's what we need more of. And that tells me that we are shifting in a way that I think it's progress. Yeah. We need progress. Progress is essential to us to keep going.
Yeah.
Any surprises?
But I think I'll echo that 1,000%. I think that is, you see that at the doors quite a bit. I'll give you to stand out. I'll give you the individual example that I have, which has just happened literally like a couple of days ago. One of the volunteers that we have for the campaign, Terry, who's amazing. She's one of my neighbors. Terry had been knocking on some doors in our neighborhood, and she says, like, and this was, this caught me off guard. She said, "You have great name recognition." I said, "Really?" Like, yeah, I mean, I've been around here for a long time, but I didn't have. She's like, "Oh yeah." And I said, well, what was your experience? And she was like, "Well, everywhere we go, we sort of like people are like, oh yeah, we know he's running. Like, we've seen his name, or like we recognize him." I'm like, "Well, that's good." He's like, "Yeah." And then there was this guy. I said, "What guy?" He's like, "Well," he's like, "Yeah, I know he's running." And I said, "How do you know?" And he's like, "Well, that's my lawyer." So he's like, "Well," I said, "What'd you do?" He's like, "Well, I took the lid back." And like, I wouldn't leave him, like, why would we waste the literature around here? I'm like, maybe I didn't do a great job. You don't know. I mean,
yeah, I'm sure you did a great job.
They say that you're still their lawyer. That's a good thing. I know my lawyers.
Exactly.
I love them very much.
All right, Ren, you're on the spot first. 5 words, describe yourself for your voters.
I think I would say husband, father, attorney, and lover of this great community. That's great, right. Like a few of them in there. That
was more than 5.
Right. Like, I got up to 6 or 7.
Amanda, how about you? 5 words or less to describe yourself to voters.
I could tell it's going to be fun in caucus.
Right.
Go over the time. 5 words. Lived experience, right experience. I only have 1 word left.
Because after you threw down on my choice of 6 or 7, now you're stuck.
I'm just like, it's lived experience, the right experience for all of us.
There you go.
If you're gonna go over, I'll go over.
I know, right?
Fair plan. So good luck as we're moving forward, because you guys are fighting for the championship here, basically.
We are.
So here in Detroit, right? We got some teams. We got a team on the cusp of success, the Tigers, right? What advice would you give the Tigers to maybe make it to the big game?
I'm gonna say this, having played softball through many years growing up in Sterling Heights, by the way. We won multiple championships, but I would say finish the play.
Just
the classic finish the play. So simple, no unforced errors. Make sure you're paying attention in the moment, because those are the moments that they keep living and dying by. And I'm like, come on, it's finish the play, pick up the ball all the way, complete the throw. It's basics. They need to get back to basics.
Back to basics. All right.
I'd say ditto and add to it Justin Verlander.
All right.
That's it.
All right.
That's it.
Fair enough. So how do people find out more about you if you haven't knocked on their door yet?
Yes.
You got some social media, some websites.
Absolutely.
What do you got?
Absolutely. Our website is treppaformichigan.com. If you go there, we have tons of links that go right to some of our social media. On Instagram, it's Amanda Treppa. You can find me right there. On TikTok, we're on there as well, and Facebook, Amanda Treppa. And would love to slide into my DMs in a good way.
Yeah.
I've had lots of people send messages. I will respond to you. I really believe in that kind of engagement that my predecessor, Senator McMorrow, she really set that standard in this seat. So I like to take my cue from her, being her successor with championing that. Reach out.
All right, Ren, we've talked about yours, but what are your what's your connection?
Same. So mine is renformisenate.com, and we're all those social media websites, whatever you want, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and probably a few others that I'm not even aware of. So so long as you throw Ren in there, I'm sure it gets you to the right place.
And they can find us on a lot of things, like we're on some slates together that we've been endorsed by, so you can also find us together on those platforms.
True. People's Coalition.
People's Coalition, yeah.
Wonderful. All right, so I'll put all those links in the descriptions and everything. And any final thought? Anything else you wanted to add? Did we hit everything we wanted to talk about? I think we're good.
So.
I think so.
All right. I didn't. So I jumped around a little bit. So.
It's okay. It was great. Thank you so much.
Fantastic.
All right. So People Over Politics, we'll do it again, and good luck with both of your races.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Appreciate it.